Our next speaker is going to be Mr. Raghavan Santhanam, who's going to talk about the concept of the Chennai Cab.
Think about it, all the people in this room at some point of time has dated someone, or the people, or all the oldsters, if I might call you so, have, gone through the process of arranged marriage. If I were to ask you what was the first, of the person whom you married, what was the first impression you had of that person? Each one of it, if I had the time, I would have asked you and you would have remembered something. So think about this. We have a great vision, Singara Chennai. We have things like, Atithi Devo Bhava. These are great things and a great vision. What have we done for Chennai? So that precisely, when Suman said, give some idea, that is the thing that came about. And I am married to a, person who's from Bangalore. So every time I have a conversation with my wife, she always says, think about how great Bangalore is. So the idea is about whether it is domestic tourists or foreign tourists, how do you really make Chennai, Singara Chennai, the Singapore of India? Can we go to the next slide, please? So basically, think about it. When a domestic tourist or a foreign tourist comes to Chennai, what are all the touch points that are possible in Chennai? You have the airport, you have the bus station, and you have the railway station. Think about Chennai railway station. All of you have been to the Chennai railway station many times. If I had time, I would have asked each one of you your impressions, and I wouldn't need this slide deck. But since I'm short of time, I'm using this slide deck as a prop. You land in Chennai railway station, the first thing that, the first impression that you get of a Chennai railway station, there are people lying on the platform. The platforms are jammed. You can't get out of the train, walk out. You do walk out, and then you come to the prepaid auto stand. In fact, I and my wife, both of us, after I put this slide deck and sent it to Suman, I thought, whatever I have said here, why don't I actually again go to the station and validate it? Yesterday when I went in the afternoon to the railway station at about 1 o'clock, there was the person who was operating the booth was missing. The prepaid auto stand, there was no one inside the booth. So basically, look at how a foreign tourist or a person who doesn't know India, he comes to India with a lot of passion. He wants to experience the Chennai art and culture. He wants to see the city with the difference, with hospitality. And all he gets to see in the railway station, next slide please. People lying. The car parking lot, I won't go into it because, I want to stick to one idea, transportation, the prepaid, and I'll come to that. But you look at the car parking lot, it's a mess. Yesterday we went, there was a tree lying down with clothes. There were poles lying around. The prepaid auto stand, all of you, have had experiences. The prepaid auto system doesn't work. Even if you're in the line, it talks. I had a very interesting, at the Coimbatore bus stand, when I went to the prepaid auto stand, they gave me a receipt for 90, whatever the amount was, 90 or 120, I don't remember right now. But they said, sir, this is the amount we have written on the receipt, but most probably the auto guy will ask you 120. So what's the point of a prepaid auto stand if that is what it is? The lines in prepaid. Now, without naming the operator, of course, you all know the taxi operators, and it's not about a particular taxi operator or about a particular auto. Prepaid taxis. You go to the Chennai station, there is a prepaid taxi line. But whenever you stand in that line, you will have agents and brokers outside there telling you, sir, yes, sir, line irukkenga taxi la varadu sir, innum nare naai agum, neenga vaango velila. We can negotiate the price. Next slide, please. Of course, I don't want to go through this. There are a lot of newspaper articles which have been there. So it is not that we are not aware. Next slide, please. Take a look at London taxi service. If you have visited UK, it's the only taxi service that is there. It's clean. You enter as a foreign tourist. I've been to UK. You enter. It's a pleasurable experience. You see the website of Visit London page. Think about the amount of focus that page has on transportation. Go to www.visitlondon. It will have, for a tourist, what is it that you can experience? What are the taxi services? What is available? So London cab service. Move on to the next slide, please. This is the New York limousine commission and the New York taxi. By the way, when I landed in New York and I went from the airport to the particular place that I was going, I forgot my suitcase in the taxi and I got down in a hurry. And the only, as usual, I'm not good at numbers and I didn't remember the taxi number. All I had was the taxi receipt with me. And they have a 1-800 number. And unlike the 1-800 numbers in India, that 1-800 number works. There is a live person who answers your call. The person answers the call and he told me, what time did you lose the thing? I said, he said, do you remember the name of the driver? Do you remember the name of the car? I said, I don't remember anything. I only have the receipt of the cab. He took the receipt number. He tracked down who was the driver at that time, called me back to say, where are you right now? I said, I'm in front of this building, and my suitcase was delivered back by the same cab driver. Move on, please. Next slide. We can always say, oh, wow, you have traveled to, UK, you traveled to, these foreign countries. We are different, we are India. You can't compare developed countries to developing countries. So how about Malaysia, Indonesia? This is about Malaysia. They have a website where there is so much focus on transportation. Again, the official taxi services, that red and yellow, both I and my wife traveled by it. That you go to the Malaysian airport, you go there, they give you a booth in the thing. Next slide, please. This is Amsterdam. In Amsterdam, what they do is, there are portions of the city where the vehicles are not allowed. It's only a vehicle-free zone. Next slide, please. So what am I coming to? So can we learn anything from these foreign countries and can we implement anything in Chennai? So of course I'll not go about beautification of the Chennai railway station or what can be done to clean up the platform, how you can invite private partnership, build on top floors so that you create the clutter. I'll not focus on that idea. But can we create something like the London taxi company, create a Madras taxi company? Now create that Madras taxi company with only one goal, whether it is domestic or foreign tourists who come to the Chennai railway station. At least the first thing, like you're inviting someone to your house, the first impression you leave is the lasting impression. So can the Madras taxi company be launched? So next slide, please. So what you do is create the Madras taxi company, make it the sole vehicle operator in the Chennai railway station by stopping all other vehicle operators, private and thing. One thing is, at least for the first experience of the tourist, will be a friendly one. You will give consistency of service like the London taxi company. And of course you could have no cash dealings with it. You could have it in the booth. People pay for it there and go for it. The initial idea is only to run this in Chennai station first because that is where our problem area is. Airports still has that problem, but at least it's much better off. So focus on the railway station and run this Madras taxi company. Once this succeeds, you can roll it out to other stations as well as other modes of transportation. Of course, there will be cost involved for this. So the Madras taxi company could initially be launched with as few as 100 cabs. So you could take 20 cars parked in station, and the logic I went by is, and thanks to Sumant, he challenged my initial concept of 50. So, you could have 80 cars in 5-minute radius, and each of these cab service will only be from the station to a particular point of destination, and this cab is not meant to be there as a regular cab service for other things. This is basically for people who come to the station. I have given rough estimations. This could cost you about 7 crores, but it's investment worth it. Next slide, please. Of course, there are anticipated problems. There are taxi lobbies, there are auto lobbies. So the reason why I said this will not work as a normal taxi operator or a normal, that you have inside the city, right? In the Chennai railway station, you should have only one preferred, whether it is the Madras taxi company or whatever, one preferred taxi cab service, so that the person, whether it's a domestic or international tourist, gets the same kind of consistent service, because the first impression you leave with that person will be the last impression. You could look at different ways of funding this. This doesn't have to be a government funded initiative. Of course, you would need the government to initially set up the seed fund. You could look at how crowdfunding can do it. If all Chennai citizens think that transportation is a problem and you want to do something about Atithi Devo Bhava, you could, build this into a concept and get the public-private partnership going. The other thing could be invite the top 10 industrialist houses of Chennai. Invite them and ask them to, initially fund this beginning of this, Madras taxi company. And there are a lot of other ways you could do this. Like he mentioned about, Sachin Pilot's 2% CSR bill. You could make all the corporates, these 10 industrial houses, you choose those drivers from below the poverty line. We could get people from the village and take this into a CSR kind of initiative and do a lot of things with it. So all I would end to say is, there are good government-run examples in India. KSRTC is a great example. Bombay to Pune, the cab service that exists, which is a cooperative society that works from Bombay to Pune, the cab service. If it can be done by KSRTC, if it can be done by Bombay, Pune and the Share Taxi Association, there is no reason why Chennai cannot have an hassle-free transportation.